Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Well, hello everyone, and happy New Year! Aren't you glad that it's the beginning of something wonderful? And as a matter of fact, today is the first day of the sprint, if you are sprinting, which leads me to the very first thing that you need to know about. We literally just made this decision to extend our kit sale, the 20% off. The one thing that you need to know is we are out for right now until later this week. An unprecedented amount of L-glutamine flew out of this place. The L-glutamine. So we're not putting that in the kit. We've adjusted the price accordingly, but you will still get the quote decks free. It's a $20 value, by the way. So here's what I want you to do. If this is something new, if this is one of your new habits that you're trying to instill and get started every day with a very protein-rich, collagen-rich Target Trifecta smoothie, the kits are the way to go. So check it out. You can get it at savingdinner.com/show. That's where we house the kits. Now, the graphic's not going to change. You're going to see the L-glutamine on there, but the price has changed. It has been adjusted so that you're going to get all the benefits of the kits. And we're just going to take the L-glutamine out. We just decided to do this because, the kits still are a great deal. And I just want to make sure that you are covered. Got your back. The other thing that I want you to know is that next Saturday, this Saturday coming up, is when we're going to have our Creating a Vibrant 2023. I did this last year. We're doing it again this year, but it's so that you can create a vision for what you want to see happen in 2023 so that you can create a vibrant vision board. We're going to do that. We have all kinds of incredible materials that are really going to help you with that. It's an all-day affair, and we have the best time together. Strong suggestion that you go take a peek-see at the page and decide, is this something I want to do? I will tell you, we've had a lot of people who have done it, and it was a great experience. savingdinner.com/vibrant is where you're going to find Saturday's class. Now, the next thing you need to know is that we still have some Take Back Your Body spaces available. And listen, I'm going to tell you too that this is an 8-week course where we get together just, right now there's probably about 20 of us in there, but it is a small group. And these are women who are committed to their outcomes. These are women who are committed to having the lives that they are picturing in their heads. So I would strongly suggest that you consider this. We're going to be meeting on Tuesday, starting January 10th. There's all kinds of goodies that you get with this membership. And I am so looking forward to being a part of this with you. Seriously. You can find all the information at savingdinner.com/body. This is where it all starts. This was my quest in 2015 when I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I just said, I'm going to take back my body. And it wasn't that I wanted to be a bikini model or anything like that. It was that I wanted to take back my life. And without my body cooperating, it was a futile attempt. So understand that that's not what this is about. Some people have weight loss goals, and that's fine. I will support you 100%. I can give you all the facts on that. I can help you with that. But it's about feeling good in your own skin. At the end of the day, isn't that what you want? To be fully present in your life and not be going, oh, my back, my joints, my everything hurts. I can't do it. Sitting on the sidelines. No. You want to play full out in your life? Take back your body. That's what we need to do here. Is take it back. That's enough of my little lecture. Anyway, this is the workbook that you'll get, and every week there's all kinds of stuff in here. We have so much information here. I am so excited about this. And of course, isn't it so beautiful? Our Amber did this, of course. She did such a gorgeous job. So, let's see here. What else do I have to tell you? Oh, the quote of the week is just so appropriate. Does this support the life I'm trying to build? This is a question. This is an anonymous quote, by the way. I don't know who said it, but this is a question that you can put in your journal. As a matter of fact, my journal, which is somewhere good near, yeah, I have to clean my office up again. But my journal, that's going to be right on the very cover of my journal. Does this support the life I'm trying to build? Because you don't just get a life, you build a life. And if you want to build it and shift it and create it, which you have the power to do, by the way, then you have to be very intentional about it. And this is a good question you can start asking yourself. Amen? All right. So let's talk about this. Last week we were talking about the difference between spending money, so to speak, and investing in yourself. And it was a good thing because this was an aha moment for me. And again, I share my ahas with you because I figured if I'm going through it, somebody else is going through it too. We need to know these things for ourselves. We need to understand what it is that moves the needle in our lives toward the outcome that we want every single time. And when we understand that, oh, gee, that's hard, that's hot, I can't do that, or we start pigeonholing ourselves, then we're going to find ourselves in a place where we're not moving at all. And we're getting exactly those negative thoughts that we're thinking about. And I will say to you every single time that when we change the way we think about things, we change what our expectations are, and we speak it and think it, we start to see things really rapidly shift. And it's dramatic. It is dramatic because it's a whole different way of thinking about your life, what it is that you want, and how you show up for it. So it also comes to this place where the understanding is this: everything has a cost. There's no such thing as a free pass. There really isn't. There's always strings attached. And that's okay when we understand that, because we can deliberately choose the things that we're willing to pay for and invest in. So let's talk about that. When I lived in Colorado, we lived in Colorado for 3 years before we moved here to Brevard. And when I lived there, one of the reasons that we wanted to live in Colorado is because we were both avid skiers. And skiing, we watched the prices of skiing just go up and up. It got really, really expensive. And one of the things that they did, though, was they would offer in the middle of the summer this icon pass, IKON, an icon pass. And it was for the local, around in the Denver area, like an hour drive pass, so that you can pay for this pass up front and save a whole ton of money, or you can just go up for the day and, pay for it as you go. But we saved a ton of money because we decided, how often would we ski? We did the math and figured it out, and buying the icon pass, each of us, was the way to go. And so we would do that every year. So it's a trade-off though, right? You either pay a lot up front or you pay a lot when you get there, and you just need to make a decision on how it is that you wanted to pay. But it's what I call an opportunity cost. Everything has an opportunity cost. Absolutely everything. And it just depends on the lens in which you see this cost. Is it a cost or is it an investment? So think about it this way. Let's say you want a dream job. You just, you're just fresh out of college or whatever, and where you've been training for this particular thing, and your dream job would be to work here. And, you're probably not going to get that job right out of the gate. I have a friend who, you probably know who he is, John Lasseter, who I graduated from high school with. He was actually a year older than I was. And his whole thing, he was my girlfriend's, my best friend's boyfriend at the time. And I remember vividly being in her kitchen with him, and he's talking on and on and on about his whole goal in life is to become an animator at Disney. And of course, he went on to do, you remember that little movie, Toy Story? That was his movie. And he went on to build Pixar. And, of course, his life unfolded a little differently for him, didn't it? But he didn't go right out of college into Disney. He had to work his way there, and he finally did get there. And then, the rest of the story, it kind of got that. But he had to lay a foundation first. It started with a hot desire. We're going to talk about that because that certainly is. And it's also about doing the work, pushing the envelope, going a little bit further. When he was a college student, he won an Student Academy Award for animation for The Little Toaster, if you remember that. That was his movie also. And that was John. That was the way he rolled. That was the way his operating system was about. And I'm inviting you to take a look at how we too can adopt that, because it's not just for uber talented cartoonists and animators, not at all. It's about this desire that is with anything that you want, right? Anything that you want. And this is the same thing. This goes for your health as well. You don't just wake up one day and go, woo, here I am in optimal health. Doesn't work that way. There is research that needs to go in. There's plans to follow, like our sprint, which starts today, by the way, and that's absolutely free. So if you're thinking about it, go to savingdinner.com/sprint. You can get on it anytime. There's an opportunity cost there. You're going to buy some groceries. You're going to invest in yourself. You're going to make a decision about all those different things and start the process. You got to get started. You need a foundation that needs to be laid. And what you find is that by actively making better choices each time and choosing better, obviously, that you're going to do it consistently, you're going to get the results little by little, bit by bit, as you do these things. It's going to get easier. It's going to be a shift in mindset. It's going to become more of a habit. That's the beauty of doing things consistently. You can train yourself to do this. You can, certainly you'll start to learn, like maybe like in the food department, for example, maybe I can dump those damaging fats. Maybe you've got a cupboard full of crummy old oil that needs to go, and replace it with some good quality stuff. Maybe you've been eating margarine and you finally heard me say, stop it and eat butter. Just different things like that. Maybe you've heard me talk about snacking and how lethal that is for us, because it's putting our bodies in overtime, constantly working, instead of maybe doing some intermittent fasting and choosing wise target trifecta meals. You notice that there's a big time shift there. Hydrating is another example. The difference between hydrating and not hydrating, what it does for your skin. You'll notice it on your skin right away. You'll notice in the way you feel. You'll notice it in how you wake up and how you sleep and everything. It just makes all the difference in the world. Same with sleep habits. If you shift your sleeping, watch what happens. Again, it's an investment. There's a little pain involved. There's shifting, there's changing. But this is part and parcel of what this whole situation is about. Same with just like setting an alarm on your phone and getting up and moving a little bit and, doing some squats or some jumping jacks or something, so that you're not sitting on your butt all day long, turning into a puddle. It's just not good for you. It's not good for you. But this is also something, this kind of a mindset of shifting how you think about things and becoming more actively involved in the investment of yourself. You can see this in relationships as well. So we know if you've been married or in a relationship for a long time with a significant other, it's not always sunshine and flowers and roses and everything is just, hunky-dory swell. We find ourselves, even in conflict, we find ourselves in the place of understanding that if we are to continue in this relationship, we're going to have to be about growth and acceptance. Yep, growth and acceptance. One of the things that I did, early on when Mark and I got together is just not let the little things bug me. Is it a big deal if he leaves his shoes by the door all the time? He does. And everything's neat except there's a pile of shoes there sometimes. So you know what I do? At first I did attempt, and I said, hey, how about just pick them up and throw them in the closet? No big deal. Didn't happen. So I finally just said, you know what? He's used to doing this. I mean, this man's well over 60. This is how he rolls. Am I going to let this be a problem in our relationship? Or am I just going to pick him up and put him in the closet? It takes me 2 seconds. I pick him up and put it in the closet. Solved. Now it doesn't bother me when I see them. It's just like I made a decision about that. I decided to invest in our relationship instead of investing in a pair of shoes. Yeah? We can invest in the good stuff in a relationship instead of that kind of stuff, and it makes all the difference. This is how we love and support one another's evolution. And I will tell you, Mark will bend over backwards for me. He will do anything for me. He is true. He's truly that. But I make it a point every single day to wake up and to tell him that I love him and that I appreciate him every day. It's conscious. I had to work on it. I had to write it out. It was part of my goals to make sure that I was verbal about that. But that is an investment that I made one of the best things that I have ever done. And acceptance is that, it can be a little messy sometimes. It can be tough to accept something like that, like the shoes even, because maybe you have a neat as a pin type of a mentality, but we can. And when we do, it puts us maybe a little bit in an uncomfortable territory instead of our comfort zone where everything is just great. So I will tell you, this is the thing that I know for sure, that when we invest in ourselves and invest in our relationships, we move the needle toward not only massive acceptance, but we also move it into the favor of the growth for ourselves. It's incredible. So, you know what the most important question to ask yourself when it comes to this idea that you have to pay in some form? That you're going to most likely accept, you're going to suffer. That's the most important question. What am I willing to suffer for? And I will tell you, this is kind of your lift ticket expense, right? It is. It's truly a lift ticket expense. Am I going to pay up front or am I going to pay at the gate? How do I want to work this? It's your thing. You're going to pay for sore muscles if you start working out. I'm telling you, I know what that feels like. It's pretty lousy. But InfoCrusher helps a lot. Epsom salt baths help a lot. I am willing to pay for the sore muscle in order to have the strength to support my bones and to support my life that I want, this active life that I've chosen. That's what happens when you start an exercise habit. And same for, when you're transitioning from being a sugar burner to being a fat burner, and you're dumping all the carbs and all the crazy that doesn't fit your life and the snacks and all of that, it might be painful. You might have sugar withdrawals. You might end up with a literal headache and feeling like you have the flu. They call it the low carb flu for a reason, keto flu, whatever you want to call it. But there's a cost to be paid there. But once you get through it, boy, don't you feel good. Isn't it true? And you pay the cost for any healthy new habit because you're very likely going to have to drop an old habit to start a new habit. Dropping the old one, a little bit tough. Starting the new one as you're dropping the old one, that's the rub. That's the rub because it takes a little bit of doing. So in other words, you have to choose the pain, right? You don't get a pass without the pain. There is pain involved in either staying with something or changing up something. That's just the way it works. So to figure out the pain you're willing to suffer through, because there will be suffering, sorry, it's just part and parcel, you have to sit with yourself and figure out what your hot desire is and what you want to invest in that. You have to reverse engineer it a little bit and figure out if you're willing to pay the price, if you're willing to pay the price to get the outcome that you want. So this is why hot desire really comes into it, and you hear me talk about hot desire a lot. I do talk about hot desire because it's the thing that lights you up. When you want something, nothing's going to stand in your way. You're going to muscle through somehow. You're going to figure it out somehow. And somehow or another, that's going to help mitigate the pain of change and make it a little easier to pony up for the cost up front even. I would say that about Take Back Your Body. Maybe you're looking at that and go, I don't want to pay that. Sure, I get that. Nobody wants to pay. But the thing is if you look at things as an investment in yourself, then that's when you start to move the needle, because I've noticed there's a big difference in people who get the free sprint versus people who get Take Back Your Body. They're committed. They're in. They put their money where their mouth is. They're all in. And that all inness is the hot desire. And it's the willingness to do the work and to really be there and to be present and to invest wholeheartedly in themselves. So I have 4 things to help you in this process of pain. These are things from my own experience. This is right out of my journal, by the way. Number 1 is to create a system. Now, you know that I have the morning rituals and the evening rituals. We use the Take Back Your Life journal. You've seen this, right? Which helps us to create this, because I call those the bookends for our days. If we start the day off right, we're journaling, we're doing all these really good, solid habits that help us to transition from this, from the life of crazy and into something that's a little bit more, something that is more solid and something we can be proud of, by the way. And this is one of the things too. You do become a lot more proud of the way that you move and change things, because now your days matter. It's not just on repeat Groundhog Day every single day. Same with the evening ritual, and same with all the things that you do in the middle. So in those things, I've got 3 keystones: morning and evening rituals, piggybacking your habits, and having a supportive and incredible community and environment to be around. And you create that yourself. And as far as the piggyback habits, once you've got one thing established, you can piggyback and have that remind you to start something new. I used to, now I've kind of shifted a little bit. You can change things as you go, by the way. That my habit for emptying the dishwasher, for example, was once that was done and the coffee was brewing, I would immediately start the 4-minute workout. That was my cue. And that's what piggyback habits do. And it really helps, because now it's just natural. Just do it. Number 2 is your hot desire. So, I've talked about that a lot, because what a hot desire does is it starts the whole process. It's a germination. It's a seed planted. This is what I want. I'm planting it into the ground. Now I'm going to water it, nurture it, and take good care of it. So that asks you the question: what are you willing to do in order to nurture this hot desire along? What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to invest in? What is it about this that you want? And also, at the end of the day, what's driving it? Because oftentimes your why is just everything. We've done this in our groups. I had a woman in Take Back Your Body who said, no desire at all. She's done the weight loss thing, but she wants to feel better in her body. And that's why I say I will support what it is that you want to do. But taking back your body, if this is your vehicle for life, well then, yeah, all in, right? This is the thing that we want to do. Our hot desire is ultimately the thing that takes us through that, and it helps us to see what our why is. Okay. Number 3 is get really good at a few things, because more isn't always better, y'all. You know that, right? We don't need to pile on. We need to add on, and that's way different than piling on. Way, way different. It's the commitment to getting good at something. I'm really good at. I can do X, Y, and Z in my sleep. I know how to do this, And you know what that does? It creates this feeling of accomplishment. It gives you this can-do attitude, and it sets you up for the next thing, because there's always a next thing, right? And by the way, when I say that there's always a next thing, that just means that you're committed to growth with yourself. And as you're committed for growth, you're looking for the next thing. And suddenly something comes up, and there you are. I mean, I've done this with pickleball myself. I used to be super intimidated to play in this competitive group that I was with. And now I show up and say, today I'm going to give it my best. Today I'm going to play my best game. Today I'm really going to enjoy the camaraderie of these women that I'm playing with. And, and it's working, it's working. I've kind of jumped a few things. I've gone fast into this next level of play because has been my commitment from the beginning. I'm an athlete after all, right? Number 4 is thrive and don't strive. This is a big one. This is my lesson that I have been working on for absolutely ever. But two things. One is to be available for the easy parts, because there's easy parts. The planning part is easy, or, getting everything ready and getting your little ducks in a row and creating this plan or whatever it is that you're doing. But then also be prepared for the hard parts, because there's going to come a decision time, like you're going to some event, you're going and doing something, and whatever it is, it means that you are going to need to make decisions for yourself. What are they based on? What are they based on? If you're thriving, you don't have to strive and think about it. You just think, this is what I committed to do. This is what I'm going to do next. Step into it. I've found that contentment and thriving, even when I'm not where I want to be yet, comes from the simple and very free practice of gratitude. Gratitude. It's such a game changer. And when we write it out, when we express it to our people and we live it, we feel it, there is an expansion that happens in our heart, mind, body, and soul. We become more authentically ourselves. This is how you bring out the truth of who you are. Instead of hiding behind a wall of shame, a wall of complaining, a wall of just not being content at all, you start looking for those silver linings on some of those storm clouds. You start choosing instead to find gratitude, even in the very smallest of things, even amongst all the garbage. It's pretty crazy. Because when we enjoy and love, gratitude is always present. And we can enjoy and love even the tough parts. Maybe you're going through sugar withdrawal right now after all the holidays and all the, hubbub. And here we are, it's January 2nd, right? And you're thinking, oh, this is painful. But you know what I'm really grateful for? I'm grateful for the fact that I have what it takes to do the hard thing. I can, because what I'm doing is going to support the life that I want to build. And the life that I want to build in 2023 is going to look different than 2022. And I'm committed to that. So listen, I'm going to invite you to come this Saturday to our fabulous Creating a Vibrant 2023. I really want you there. It's going to be something. savingdinner.com/vibrant. That's where you get all the information about it. And listen, the other thing that you need to know is that you will also have this forever and ever, amen. And we will, the whole thing is just the setup for the whole thing is just going to light you up. Speaking of being lit up. So giving you an invitation, go check it out. savingdinner.com/vibrant. And by the way, I didn't tell you this, but today has been recorded, and I will see you live tomorrow, Tuesday, January 3rd. I want to say too, one thing within this new year, that I so appreciate every single one of you. You mean the world to me. Thank you for being a part of my community. Thank you for being a part of my heart. You're everything. God bless you all. I will see you tomorrow. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.